Oh, hey. It's Dia de los Muertes, so that's why I look like this. I was told to embrace it, to express a little bit of creativity, and so I did. And now, even though it's supposed to be past the time that it's past the time that I'm supposed to be making noise in my room. Nobody's sleeping yet. I think my one roommate's sleeping over at his baby mom's house, and my other roommate is still up. So I am taking advantage, and I'm just going to do a reading right now, especially since I'm in character. Now this one is going to be very personal. I haven't done one of those in a minute. The last time that I did, I experienced a lot of emotions about it. But I received some information today, and I'm looking for more information. So we're just gonna see what comes out. Okay. A card fell face down, and 4 cards came face up with the first shuffle. So that's what we're going to start with. I need to try to get into a personal energy because I don't know where to even begin with this. Okay, I'm going to flip the card that's in the middle as well. I'm going to show you how I have this set up. Okay, so I have it set like that. But I am going to flip this card as well. The Ace of Swords. Okay, so we have the Ace of Swords right in the middle. That's perfect because that is a depiction of the truth, of the highest truth of the, it's not the Justice card, but it is the Truth card, which is justice for me, as far as I'm concerned. Well, okay, so we have the Ace of Swords. It's also, it's a masculine card. And there is a movement to it, so it's kind of a movement in the masculine towards truth. Beside it, interestingly, I have the 7 of Pentacles, and I have the 9 of Wands. So the 7 of Pentacles is this guy, you know, waiting on a harvest. And he looks displeased. And the 9 of Wands is this guy holding onto his own wand while he's kind of looking at the rest of these with almost this look of suspicion. He's kind of clinging to his wand, like kind of a little bit afraid. Honestly, his hair's disheveled and he has what looks almost like a bandage over his head. So maybe he's been hurt in the past and he's kind of holding his wand close to him and is a bit intimidated by all of these other ones and isn't really sure what to expect. And this guy, in the 7 of Pentacles, has his hoe, and there's a harvest. I mean, there's a full harvest here, but it's not the 10 of Pentacles, it's not even the 9 of Pentacles, it's not even the 8 of Pentacles. So, like, the 8 of Pentacles is a card that, like, is depictive of your hard work paying off. This is, like, while you're still waiting to see that, right? Okay, so in the midst of waiting for this truth to come through, there's a feeling of, he's not terribly happy. He looks somewhat disappointed, waiting for, you know, his harvest to come through. And this guy's been wounded in the past, and he looks kind of nervous. Like, he's not sure he's going to be able to handle what comes after that. This guy's kind of feeling like the Pentacles is feeling like a self-doubt, where the Nine of Wands is kind of a PTSD sort of deal. Or kind of just like, yeah. And the thing about that is that we have these cards on the outside as our clarifiers. And for the clarifier that I have for the Seven of Pentacles in the upright is the Three of Cups in the reverse, which is like there isn't, and maybe that's why he feels disappointed. He feels like he's put all this hard work in to see an abundance, and he knows it's not going to lead to that. He's aware that, like, there isn't going to be this feeling of success and camaraderie. There's a pumpkin on the ground. There's these other plants on the ground. Yeah, it's kind of a bit of an insecurity, or almost like the self-doubt is feeling assured that, like, there's a reason to doubt the work that one's done. Because there isn't this camaraderie. Where on the Nine of Wands side, our guy having PTSD has the Ten of Wands, which is a negative card, but in the reverse. So on this side, it's like, despite my fears of all these wands, like, I don't know if I could even handle another wand. I'm already hurt. I'm just clinging to my own wand. But then it moves into the Ten of Wands, and it's in the reverse. So it's almost like there's an assurance over on this side that things won't be too much to handle. But on this side, it's like, kind of almost that the work that's being done, I guess that feels more right, that the work that's being done is like almost assuring that some relationships are going to be lost. That some people who we considered like close friends or family won't be celebrating the eventual harvest with us. Okay, I want some clarity. I want more clarity. Can I have clarity on the Ace of Swords? The Hermit in reverse. Okay, so it's like the act of speaking the truth, of coming out with the truth. It's not holding on to it anymore just to guide oneself with it. It's actually coming out with the truth. Can I have clarity? I'm going to reshuffle these. Can I have clarity for the Seven of Pentacles, please? Flew out. I have the Queen of Wands in the reverse. And I have these two cards that came face down. So I'm going to leave them for right now. The Queen of Wands in the reverse is like, I'm not feeling assured of my spirituality. I'm not feeling assured of my skills, my knowledge, my wisdom, my intuition. It's kind of an insecurity, and it's like an insecure energy. It's yeah, I'm discomforted. I almost feel cursed, like all this work is for nothing. Okay, okay, this is my clarity for The Nine of Wands, anything else? My clarity for the Nine of Wands came out. The Fool in the upright. And the Knight of Cups in the upright. Which is almost like, despite feeling at a personal loss with oneself, feeling a trepidation, feeling this PTSD, feeling like I've already been harmed and I'm, you know, I'm holding onto my wand. I know that I can trust this, but like, I'm also very nervous about all of these other things. There's like this carefree, like, I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm still going to move forward with my emotions. I'm still going to move forward with my love, with my care. I'm still going to move forward in the direction of not feeling overwhelmed with confidence. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is that there's a truth that's to be revealed, specifically either about a man or by a man, and it causes a split. There's two different sides of responses here, not with one person. Like, there's one side responding one way and there's another side responding another way, and that's like two different people or two different groups, a person versus a group, something like that. On this side, it's like, after this truth comes out, the truth comes out as the Hermit in reverse. Sorry. The Hermit in reverse. I don't know if you heard that. That was the chair, by the way. Well, and my legs, because I'm wearing a fucking miniskirt. The Hermit in reverse. For the Ace of Swords. Speaking on the truth itself, can I have clarity for the Hermit? The Seven of Wands on its side. And the Ten of Cups. Okay, so what I'm getting out of this is that the truth, there's a truth that's coming out. It's like somebody was, the person on this side, because that's the way he's facing, was trusting their own intuition. They had their PTSD, but they were, you know, kind of putting that on the side in order to move forward with confidence and faith that their burdens, that they wouldn't be burdened. And so there's a light being shed on them. Like, they're the ones receiving this truth. Which is leading to, okay, the way I'm seeing this card being on its side, the Seven of Wands being on its side, is all of the wands that he's fighting are coming from this side, and then he's bringing his wand from this side, right? So it's almost like this person who's receiving the truth, this person who is struggling with past pain and trauma, but who chose to move forward in confidence, faith, into, and with just this like faith, yeah, that they wouldn't be overburdened. The truth is coming to help them be able to, like in this Ten of Wands, like, you know, he's struggling to carry all of these wands, right? In the Seven of Wands, it's like he's fighting all of these wands. And so because this is in the reverse, it's kind of like there's an assurance that it isn't going to be an overburden. Like he's not going to be overburdened. And the truth is helping him defend himself against this other side and against these attacks from others, which is then leading to this Ten of Cups that came out, which is emotional and spiritual fulfillment, mostly emotional fulfillment, happiness, success. There's a rainbow behind the cups, which is like this promise that they're never going to have to go through that same trauma again. So we're pretty secure on this side. It's looking good on this side for the person receiving the truth. That's making me feel that, okay, so the truth is coming from this side, but it's not necessarily being given by this side. It's almost like this person was trusting their own insight, but they also didn't really have that to work off of, because they didn't have the truth, the full truth to actually work off of. So they were just having to trust their own insight, but they didn't have the full truth. And in receiving this truth, they're able to manage things. But the truth isn't necessarily being directly given to them by this other side. It's being given by the hand of God, by the hand of the divine. It's coming through this cloud. So we have the Seven of Pentacles being clarified by the Queen of Wands, which is this uncertainty of the work that one's done, this displeasure in the work that one's done, disappointment in the work that one has done, and kind of like this feeling cursed, or feeling kind of like, I'm getting this vibe of like it's feeling like everything that was intended on this side is like going in reverse. It's like going to like the positives that this person or this group or this whatever was trying to attain is not coming to them. They're not receiving the success the way that they anticipated. And it's making them feel very insecure on a spiritual level. And it seems that in that, because of that, or through that, the person that they were coming up against, because we had the Seven of Wands, the person that this side was coming up against is reaching fulfillment, is finding a fulfillment, a true fulfillment, through this process of trusting themselves and moving forward and moving on faith, and just trusting in the truth, even without like having all of the right information. And so yeah, it feels like everything's going in reverse. But there's kind of this chaotic energy over here, of like uncertainty, disappointment, frustration. I feel a lot of anger, like resentment, like a lot of resentment. The two cards that I have clarifying the Queen of Wands are the Seven of Swords and the Four of Pentacles. Okay, so I'm seeing that as like what was being attempted by the Queen of Wands that is now in the reverse And where this chaos is kind of coming from is because somebody was trying to cling to certain pentacles in a way that was greedy. They already had enough. This guy's already struggling to carry these 5 swords, yet he's looking at these other 2 swords, and he's kind of like, nah, I think I can get those. And they almost look like the same sort of character, where on this one he's like very closely holding all of these pentacles to himself. So there's this sense of having some sort of monetary or material wealth and holding it very closely to oneself, potentially even hiding it. Maybe not fully hiding it, but definitely holding on to it very tightly, where like nobody else is going to have access to it, and being greedy with it that way. And it's leading to this feeling of in abundance. It's leading to this feeling of all of my relationships are turned on its side, like the people that were for me are now against me. I'm not feeling this sense of celebration. I'm feeling an extreme frustration, a feeling of loss, a feeling of disappointment, a fear that everything I was putting out is now coming back to me in a bad way. This wealth is, for whatever reason, not giving this person the comfort that they anticipated, which is why the 7 of Pentacles looks so disappointed. Maybe it's because there is people turning on them. And so then there's this fear that everything's turning around on them. Can I have clarity for the 3 of Cups? The 9 of Pentacles. Okay, so it's not... Can I have clarity for the 9 of Pentacles? Thank you. The 4 of Cups in the reverse. Well, the 9 of Pentacles is pretty positive. It's pretty positive. It's a sense of being completely comforted by one's own material wealth, having adequate finances, feeling contented. They're in a garden, or they're in a vineyard that looks very full, ready to be harvested. They have this weird bird. Some sort of bird of paradise. There's a snail, so it's like slow and steady. Brings about this type of abundance. Now, normally the 4 of Cups is like a sign of like, I'm not grateful even for the things that I have, and the universe is trying to hand me more, and I'm like, no. But in the reverse, it's giving me this feeling of like, despite having what they worked for, like they have beyond what they worked for. This is the 9 of Pentacles. They looked so disappointed in the 7 of Pentacles. This is the 9 of Pentacles. So like, this should be highly satisfactory. This is the accumulation outside of the 10 of Pentacles. Like, this is the cultivation of that hard work. And it's in the right time and season to cultivate that wealth or, you know, material abundance. But this 4 of Cups in the reverse is giving me this feeling of like, emotional depravity. Which is like what the Four of Cups already symbolizes. Okay, so what I'm seeing, like, as I'm holding this, like I had said, like the Ace of Swords, it seems like... Okay, so the Ace of Swords is the truth is coming by the hand of the divine. There's this cloud that is bringing the sword of truth. In this, it is a cloud as well that's bringing in this cup. But the cup is in reverse. And so it's kind of a mixture of like, despite succeeding and getting the things that you had worked for, there's a lack of not just appreciation, there's a lack of like fulfillment in it because it didn't do what it was supposed to do. Or even beyond that, that like, what I got in my head was like, because this side wasn't giving the truth, like they had access to it but weren't giving it, that's why the cup is in reverse. Because in the upright, I'm almost reading it that, like, because he's staring at his Three of Cups, not realizing that he's being handed another cup, right? But, like, that's almost a positive card for the fact that, like, they're looking at what they have, unaware that they're being handed more, but they are being handed more. Like, so there's still this feeling of abundance. It's just going to take some time before they let the ego down and actually recognize it. But in the reverse, it comes across as very, like, stubborn. Even more stubborn than it does regularly. And like this feeling of like it almost is like they're looking directly at this cup that's being handed to them by the divine, and it's like it doesn't matter about this abundance, it doesn't matter about this wealth that they have and this comfort that they have with it, because their cup is still in reverse. It's not bringing them the love and affection that they hope for. It's really shedding light on this truth that's being brought by the divine to the other side. Can I have a little bit more clarity on the Ace of Swords? What this truth is? What is this truth? It already seems like, I mean, these people were coming up against this other person, but can I get a card that really depicts what this Ace of Swords was? The Five of Swords in the reverse. Which is like a feeling of succeeding in a battle. But in the reverse, it's like not just that I didn't succeed in a battle. It's almost like trying to get this side to walk away from the truth, from the swords. Trying to get the side to walk away, and they just didn't. Again, because we already have it clarified by the Hermit in reverse, unless he's pointed over to this side. The truth is that this side was trying to get this side to walk away. From what? The Three of Swords in reverse. In the upright, it has this feeling of betrayal. But in the reverse, it's like a lie, like a lie. The swords are coming from the sky down into the heart. There's 3 of them, and it's this feeling of like one trying to break somebody's spirit, trying to break somebody's heart, trying to kill somebody. Use the 3 swords, like the third is the final nail in the coffin. But in the reverse, it's kind of this feeling of like it's so silly, but like it's what I'm hearing is that the truth is that they were trying to get, this side was trying to get this side to walk away from the truth. The truth being that they were that this side was lying about betraying this side. Like they didn't want this side to keep looking into the fact that they felt betrayed. They didn't want, this side, like I said, started with this sense of PTSD. They didn't want this side. They just wanted this side to suffer. They didn't want this side to get over their PTSD and keep moving forward. There is this sense of betrayal out here, but it's more like, don't feel that way. Don't feel betrayed, because they realized that that was what was driving the hermit in reverse in the first place. So they were like, no, we didn't betray you. We haven't. There's no pentacles on this side, and there's a lot of pentacles on this side. There's a lot of pentacles on this side. So it's feeling like this side was robbed by this side. And like the intention is really right here. In the upright, the intent was to sunflower. Pulled away from. So sunflowers, if they don't have access to the sun, they'll look at each other in order to continue growing. Such a cool little fun fact. But this one has a sunflower just by itself. And so it's this concept that like this queen is in control. It almost even looks like she has a little fox on her thing. Like she's trying to control this fox. She has the sunflower and she's pulled it away from the others. There's 2 sunflowers on her throne behind her. They get to look at each other. But then there's this one sunflower up here that's separated from the 2 and it's being held between these 2 lions. You know, and this is a very magical card with the wands and with the black cat. Like I said, it's like this feeling of like there was an attempted curse to keep this sunflower from being able to grow. It's cut down and being controlled by this queen. So it doesn't even get to look at the other sunflowers. But it's like almost like it was part of a prophecy of some sort. Prophecy being used very loosely, but like it was already predestined. Not just for the sunflower to be isolated, but also to be lifted up above the rest of these things. Between these 2 lines, these 2 forms of strength. She sits on her throne. She has 2 lions on either side of herself. but the sunflower that's isolated sits above her on her throne. And so in the reverse, it's almost like this, like I said, like what she had attempted, what she saw, what she had pre-planned, has like turned almost directly against her. She's not happy about it. She's not contented as a person at all. She did all this work and she's extremely disappointed in it. She's not happy with herself for having done this work. She's greedy though, and she's clinging to what she's made off of it, which is a fair amount of abundance. But it's not doing the trick because it's not fulfilling her emotionally. People are turning their backs on her, and this truth is coming out because this other side refused to just accept these things. You know, it was almost like a destiny swap attempt. And it's like, no. I think that's where that little bit of confusion comes here too. Trying to get this person to walk away from this feeling of betrayal. And they did, to some degree. But it was more just that they moved on faith and trust and confidence and just kept moving forward to embrace their abundance. They fought for their abundance. Is there anything else? It's been quite a read. Anything else? We have the Five of Wands in the upright. We have the Five of Pentacles in the upright. And we have Justice. It came out on its side, like this, like this, where its feet are pointed over here. So there's balance on this side, and the truth is about this side. There's a divine truth being given to this side, but the truth of justice is pointed in this direction. Just like there's five fighting each other here. Normally I look at this like boys playing a game with a sense of camaraderie, but here I see it as like fighting, arguing, training. This Five of Pentacles is this feeling of being impoverished and broken down, and it's a sense of injustice. And it came out on this side, where the Five of Wands came out on this side. So it's almost like this feeling of being impoverished, of being taken advantage of, being disadvantaged, being left out in the cold, essentially. The justice is moving into this fight that's happening. Like, which ultimately, like, I moved the cards up, and the one that's still out is like this Three of Cups in the reverse. Like, it's leading to like this discourse and these betrayals. You did get the Justice card. Anything else? The Page of Cups in the reverse. The Tower in the upright. The Page of Cups in the reverse. It's like this feeling of not being able to make the most, not being able to emotionally alchemize the Tower. Like, it's like this, yeah, everything that was meant for this one side is turning onto this side. There's a betrayal coming from the truth being spoken. The way that these cards, I kind of like pushed them up in order to fit them on here. And so what I'm seeing is like this betrayal leads to, there's a betrayal. It's not just a betrayal though, it's almost like a distrust that leads to this not being able to be sure of one's own emotions that leads to a Tower. And after saying that, like, it felt like, you know, so, well, the Tower is all of this fight, these people fighting over this one person keeping a certain amount of the abundance close to themselves. It's leading to, like, them not being in union with each other. And then the Queen of Wands here is the one who ends up, like, delivering this divine truth in her negative, in her reverse. Like, I don't think she even means to. I think she freaks out, and because she's being stubborn and bitter and resentful, she, like, speaks some truth and reveals something. Which again leads to this pain for this person on this side. And leads to them I have the Five of Pentacles is still out here on top. But the Ten of Wands is also on top, in the reverse. So it's like this feeling of, despite not having any sort of monetary wealth and feeling impoverished that way, they're still not letting it get to them emotionally. They're not letting it overwhelm them. But, like, in protecting themselves that way, they're almost protecting themselves against their happiness with their family. There's the Six of Cups. And then the Seventh being brought in by someone else. Can I have the final cards for this other side? The Nine of Cups. Despite that, so, like, when this truth first comes out, it makes this person feel some type of way, and they start defending themselves, but it ends up, you know, almost like blocking them from a level of happiness with the family that they have at that time. Not just these other people, like not in reference to these people being their family. In this card, usually there's a man and a woman, and then there are 2 kids, but the man is blocked. And there's this other person coming in with a cup over this man. And he's adding a cup to the 6 of cups that is in the rainbow. But like this feeling of being impoverished is like blocking these 2 kids from moving. And like, because the man isn't there, there's like this feeling of like, in fact, the man is blocked by like what looks like a bit of a mountain on this other card. And so it's kind of this sense of like, in feeling like one has to defend themselves against everything that's going on, there's also this blockage of romance and family and stability. And somebody else comes in and is able to add a little bit of life and health, just emotionality to the situation in a way that allows this person to kind of overcome that. To the point that they're in the 9 of Cups in the upright. So they find their own emotional abundance through all of this. Meanwhile, I'm not sure if they're even aware that this is happening on the other side, this tower coming in and kind of disrupting all of these feelings. And like, despite there being so much material wealth and privilege and, you know, all of these things over here, there's also a lot of like confusion, frustration, discourse, conflict, lack of union. These things were just blocked, but they still exist. But it doesn't look very good for this side over here. Okay, anything else? Anything else? One final card, please, to sum it up. Okay. The 2 of Wands in the upright. The world is your oyster. You can go anywhere, you can do anything. There's a confidence in oneself, one's own abilities, capacities, knowledge. It's this person from this side looking into this, saying, what I see in this is opportunity for growth, for expansion. This willingness to leave everything else behind for this sense of not just adventure and exploration, but to also come to find one's own self. It's so strange because this really does, like, obviously, I mean, I said it was going to be a personal read. I already felt that. I tried to do it in a way that was hopefully, you know, if this applies to you, if these things resonate with you, feel free to drop it in the comments what you received from it. I'd love to hear the relation to the story for sure. On a very personal level, it definitely relates to the what was already on my mind today, these issues with my family that I've had in the past, and the whole story of how I've handled that thus far. I don't know. This was a weird read. Specifically to my ancestors, completely separate from this read. Okay, I'm blocking out everything. Blocking it all out. Blocking it all out. I want something new, fresh, some words, something, some sort of message directly from my ancestors. Dia de los Muertes. I appreciate the energy that I've already received, but it's leaving me feeling less than resolved. So I'm clearing that energy out, and I'm opening myself to opportunity. And I'm communicating with you, ancestors, specifically, because this is the best day to communicate with you. It's almost midnight, so if we can communicate, that'd be wonderful. Just a little bit of messages. Quickly. Okay, I have these two cards that came out face down, these two cards that came face up. Okay, I'm flipping over the cards that came face down. And they are the King of Wands in the reverse and the Seven of Cups in the upright. And then the two cards that came out face up are the clarifiers, which is the Devil in the reverse and the Wheel of Fortune in the reverse. The King of Wands. The King of Wands is a symbol of confidence in one's own spiritual maturity, in one's own wisdom, and to be able to handle karmic cycles. In the reverse, it's a bit of insecurity. It's a bit karmic-y. It's a feeling of making the wrong choice and continuing certain cycles that should have been ending. It's next to the Seven of Cups in the upright, and he's looking directly at those cups. The Seven of Cups, it's like this shadow aspect looking at these cups, and the things that are in these cups are a beautiful woman, so like lust, a ghost, a person with a sheet over their head that's like glowing. It gives me this feeling of a ghost. It's like this fear of the other side. There's a snake coming out. There's a scary dragon coming out. There's a wreath, which is like success, like a winner, but it's giving me this feeling of greed, of covetousness. Kind of that feeling, covetousness. There's these jewels, and then there's a mountain. Okay, so it's the 7 deadly sins. There's lust, pride, gluttony, sloth, wrath, envy, and greed. And this shadow aspect is looking at these things being revealed. This King of Wands, who in the upright would find himself quite confident in his movements forward, but I'm having a hard time right now too shaking that reading just now. I'm also noticing that in the wreath that I said was like resonating to me as covetousness, there's also like seemingly like this like skull on it, where that's not in the shadow of the other ones. It's only reflecting on that specific one. Okay, so like I said, the King of Wands in the reverse is kind of this feeling of like continuing karmic cycles, more or less. And the Wheel of Fortune in the reverse is very much that. The Wheel of Fortune in the upright can be terribly positive, or it can be just factual, that these are the way that things are turning. But in the reverse, it's very much like this feeling of things not turning in your favor. Of there being like manipulation, deceit. Just like a self-doubt. And these 7 of Cups, like I said, like it's almost like the 7 deadly sins, like the characteristic tendencies one would have to be given to things that is not properly serving oneself. It's represented by the devil, but it's the devil in reverse. Which is almost, to me, resonating like the capacity to be able to alchemize one's own negativity in order to hold the devil down. And so it's giving me this feeling with the 7 of Cups that, like, although they're perceived as the 7 deadly sins, although they're perceived as negative, although they seem very intimidating and scary, they're actually gifts of the divine to be used to one's own benefit. But they're being given to the shadow aspect in order for that alchemy to be done. The King of Wands is used to being able to alchemize negative experiences in order to feel confident, but in the reverse, it's kind of like he's not used to, and like the way that he's looking at the other card, like he's not used to having to alchemize his own shadow. Which is fair. I can relate to that. And that leads to these cycles continuing, these cycles of self-doubt. There is victory. We have the 6 of Wands in the upright. The 5 of Cups in the reverse. Okay. So there's a sense of victory that comes from moving away from a feeling of loss or a feeling of lack. And moving towards what? The 10 of Wands in the reverse again. In the reverse again. To move away from the sense of lack into a releasing of burdens. Nine of Cups again. So that's an important one too. You know, the Seven of Cups are revealing the things inside of them that seem so intimidating and scary and potentially dark or evil or wrong or deadly, right? But the Nine of Cups is complete contentment, total satisfaction. And there's a sense of victory there. But it's moving away from these spilled cups and moving away from the burdens and fears of these cycles. And just trusting. Like this Devil card in the reverse is actually very important because it's kind of this depiction of the masculine and the feminine in their lowest aspect, alchemizing even that concept of being in one's lowest aspect into harnessing some sense of control, where now their chains are what are holding the devil down. And the same, like with this Wheel of Fortune in reverse, like when it's in the upright, the devil's actually here on the bottom, but he's moving up, where in the reverse, he's moving down. So it's like even in one's own mistakes and continuances of karmic cycles, there is victory. But it takes alchemizing one's shadow aspect, which is totally what I'm learning right now. I didn't celebrate Halloween. I don't normally celebrate Halloween. I wasn't raised to celebrate Halloween. But I've always loved the holiday. I've always wanted to celebrate it. I've always wanted to go full out, like spend like months creating like the perfect costume and really be able to play all these different characters and do like, I'd love to be able to celebrate it for like 2 weeks and just like have this whole big thing. I've never done that. And when I was told to paint my face today, like, for Dia de los Muertos, but like, I mean, which I did. It started out that way. And then I realized that it was hard to do flowers. And then it took on this whole, like, I don't even know what you call this. When I look at it, it looks, I mean, it looks hardcore. It looks very metal. But, like, I mean, there is a bit of skeleton to it. There's a bit of the flowers and stuff to it, but it also has this, like, devilishness to it, which I very much like. Like, it's very metal. You know, and it's part of that, like, embracing that, and being able to alchemize that. How am I going to be a master of alchemy if I'm not alchemizing the dark sides of myself as well? You know, so a big part of what I'm getting into right now in my life is getting in touch with my dark side and not fearing it and not concerning myself with what other people think about it or how they take it or what they do with it, not trying to control those things. Working with my dark side so that I can be in control of it, so that I can work with it, so that I am making the most of it, so that I'm not just hiding from it and pretending that it's some part of me that doesn't exist, but embracing it and fully alchemizing it into my fullest being. Thank you. That was a great message. I really, thank you. That bit of encouragement. This was a weird reading because I'm not like taking this time to like fully universalize it into a direct message for the collective. But like I said at the beginning, it's kind of more of a personal read. And so just as much as I'm getting into my own shadow aspect in order to be able to alchemize those things, maybe you can just take that for what it's worth and do the same for yourself in that. Hopefully some of this did resonate for you, so it wasn't just a waste of an hour of your time. And, you know, if it didn't resonate with you yet, but you've still been listening this whole time, then I hope it resonates with you at some point in time, and that it does a good work in you, that it ends up benefiting you. Yeah, that's the only encouragement I have, is don't be afraid to embrace yourself fully. Don't be afraid to trust and to move on faith. Don't let the betrayals and the concerns and the fears all overwhelm you or keep you from what it is that you're really supposed to be doing. And if you hear, you know, if your heart tells you to do something, even if it seems really silly, like painting your face, do it. Do it. Give yourself that freedom. Give yourself that freedom. Give yourself that time. Give yourself that energy. And you'll find something good in it. I'm still trying to process. I'm sure tomorrow I'm going to feel some other type of way. I don't know for sure. I don't know. Obviously not going to sleep with my face like this, so. But it was interesting. I haven't painted my face in years either. I did last year. I did. I tried to paint my face like a skeleton. It didn't work out very well. This is the most work that I've done makeup-wise in a long time, and it's definitely like, it's something I've wanted to do, is mess around with this type of thing. This is my first ever attempt. It's something, but even just putting myself in the space to like actually try it out is extremely beneficial. And yeah, this is the direction I'm going to be moving forward in, so I'm embracing it. Y'all are going to have to too. All right, well, happy November, and we will see you in the next video.